I think that most of us can agree that the community choice was a great addition into Fortnite. We got 4 community choices within 2 months, and then we haven't gotten one since 2019, which is just insane. I believe it was taken away due to the backlash Epic Games received with their last community choice. If they didn't receive this backlash, I think it would either have been a weekly or bi-weekly thing that we would get in the item shop, which I would have loved. Before we get into it, guys, make sure to drop a sub and use my code COBESMIND. I would appreciate it. Let's hop into it. So we were introduced to community choice back in September of 2019. Community choice is a voting system where each person gets 1 vote out of 3 skins. The skin with the most votes at the end would be released to the item shop after the voting was completed, which would be 2 days after. I will be circling back to the first community choice, but we're going to start with the second one first. On September 26, we had a choice between 3 new skins, Bash, Regsy, and the Bright Blaster. The Regsy skin easily won, but the Bright Blaster came to the item shop for 1 day and has never been seen again. And this will be repeated through other community choices, and I believe, again, it might be another explanation as to why they stopped them. On November 5th, 2019, we had our 3rd community choice, and for this community choice, we again had 3 new skins to choose from, the Bushranger, Rustler, and the Wake Rider. The Bushranger ended up winning, and the Rustler was the runner-up, and I'm assuming the Wake Rider had such an insignificant amount of votes that Epic Games decided to never release it. So similar to our second community choice with the Bright Blaster, that one only received 1 day in the item shop, and that was over a year ago. And then we have another new skin, the Wake Rider, which I'm assuming, just like the Bright Blaster, got such an insignificant amount of votes that Epic Games decided, you know what, after the Bright Blaster and how little it sold, we're not even going to put any energy into coding in the Wake Rider into the item shop. And by the way, guys, the Bushranger, obviously with every winning skin, came 2 days after the first initial vote, and the Rustler ended up coming out 2 months later. On November 25th of 2019, we had our last community choice to this day, which is just sad to see. Again, between 3 new skins, we had Riley, Turns, and Stingray. Riley, I believe, won by a landslide. Turns was released nearly a year after the community choice, and Stingray was the runner-up and came out about half a year after. So as we can see, there are a few problems with new skins being in the community choice. I'm gonna start with the most obvious problem. We have 3 skins from each of the community choices that were just not good enough in the community's eyes. And what I mean by not good enough, well, they didn't sell at all, because the Turns, we had the Wake Rider and the Bright Blaster. All of these skins are almost never seen in the item shop, and one of them didn't even come out. So that might be part of the explanation as to why Epic Games stopped doing this. They might have been trying to collect information about these skins, and well, they did that to a certain extent. The Bright Blaster and the Turns are probably some of the least purchased item shop skins ever created, and the Wake Rider was so embarrassingly low with the votes that they didn't even release it. This is definitely conspiracy theory, but maybe Epic Games was using this as a testing system to see if a skin should even be released or not. Maybe they were going to continue with this, and typically maybe a skin like the Bright Blaster, the Wake Rider, and the Turns, those would just be scrapped after being created. But instead of just scrapping these obviously, inevitably unpopular skins, they decided to use this voting system to see if anybody would even bother buying them. That's a conspiracy theory, and I don't believe that to be true, but I would think it would be a good idea for them to test that. Instead of releasing horrible, unlikable skins, set it to a vote and see what happens. If they get a ton of votes, then great, people are gonna buy them. If they get literally no votes, then don't release them. But for my next problem that I wanted to address, when 2 of these skins inevitably lose, people will be upset. And they will have to wait months upon months for these skins to come out, which completely kills the want for these skins. No one is going to care about a leaked skin 6 months after it was leaked, am I right? And I feel like the winner of the votes were fairly predictable, so why even have it in the first place? And that sort of supports my conspiracy theory of them testing out horrible skins just to see how many votes they would actually get, even if they already knew the outcome of these votes. It definitely wasn't shocking to see Riley or the Bushranger win, even if there was huge backlash over Riley winning. I believe this is the cause for Epic Games to stop the community choice. Epic ended up receiving an absurd amount of backlash for a skin that the community chose. This sort of irritates me because if we choose a skin and it gets the most amount of votes, well, that's our problem, not Epic's. But it does beg the question, well, obviously the Turns and the Stingray just weren't going to win, and they wouldn't win in a vote today if the same vote happened. So now we're going to be moving backwards to the first community choice. We went over the second, third, and fourth, and those were with all new skins. But I think the first community choice was the best. We had 3 skins that hadn't been in the item shop for a very long time. It's a way to see if unpopular skins have any demand to come back out. You know, maybe they get a rebirth. Maybe people are like, hey, that skin's not that bad. It's something similar to the Dynamo effect, and maybe I'll make a video on that later on. But basically what I would say the Dynamo effect is first, yeah, it's trash. One streamer uses it, then another does, and then you're like, well, maybe that skin isn't as bad as I first thought. And I always like to think that a joke starts out as a joke, but then eventually, after enough time, the joke is repeated so many times that it's taken seriously. And I feel like the Dynamo was that joke, but eventually it was in the item shop so much, people started to use it a little bit and like, this isn't that bad. But for the first community choice, we had the Bandolier, the Yeehaw, and the Flytrap. The Bandolier ended up winning, obviously. I think this is the safest bet for not upsetting the community over new skins as well. And if Epic Games is trying to avoid that backlash, I don't think they'll ever get backlash for trying to bring back unpopular skins that, you know, people might now want. I have a few ideas for ways to change the community choice so Epic Games can bring it back out. Since I really like the first idea of re-releasing skins that haven't been in the item shop for a long time, I would like to see that again, obviously. But to better appease people, they could give us maybe 5 to 10 options and we each get 3 votes. The top 3 to 5 skins, depending on how many skin options we had to pick from, once the vote was over, would be placed in the item shop. I think this would be a great way to get people excited about skins that nobody first cared about. And maybe it could bring some newfound life into these unpopular skins. And I think that giving people more votes would be a good thing. That way, you know, if you have 3 votes out of, let's say, 10 skins, maybe not all of your votes, you know, end up coming back out, but hopefully one of them does. I also think that emotes right now are the most sought after item in the entire game. I would love to see Epic do the same idea with unpopular emotes. They could do this with literally any other item as well. And since TikTok dances are unbelievably popular right now, if Epic Games wanted to do a community choice with those, I think that would be a great idea. But my final idea is very simple, and I think it's the most fun. I think Epic Games should hold community choice weekly. They could make different themes for each community choice to appease everybody. It really doesn't have to be a big deal. It doesn't have to be new skins, and Epic Games has to get that through their mind. But I'm sure it would have more players getting on Fortnite to actually vote. My first idea is having 3 to 5 sweaty female skins, or a meme community choice with 3 different meme skins. My favorite idea is the rare community choice, where they bring back old starter pack skins or old bundles that new players weren't able to get. And I feel like people don't care that much about rare skins anymore, so an old starter pack skin that hundreds of thousands, millions of people have, that shouldn't be a problem. And old bundles that maybe you weren't able to get, those could come back as well. I think that's a great idea. This could also extend over to LTMs. We all love a good LTM, and most of us have a favorite. I would love to be able to vote for my favorite LTM to come back when, you know, Fortnite's getting a little bit boring. But at the end of the day, there are so many ideas for a community choice. I love the idea of them theming it, whatever it is, whatever type of theme you want. And who knows, maybe we could even vote on 3 different themes of the week before we get the community choice. I think it's good to give players even the smallest, tiniest voice. That way, they at least believe they matter. And this would be a great way to do that. You guys are gonna have to tell me what you think. Do you guys agree or disagree with me here? Do you think community choice was fun while it lasted? Do you guys think it should come back? Do you guys just say, you know what, I never liked community choice? Regardless, guys, thank you so much for watching. I know I rambled on here for a long time. I'm sorry about it, guys. I did not mean to, but I'm gonna get out of here. Thank you guys so much for watching. Have a good one, guys. Bye.